There we go. What's going on, everyone? And welcome to another episode of the Throw-In on this Monday afternoon. How is everyone's weekend? We're just getting settled in. Let me just make sure that everything is correct because it seems like even the microphones and whatnot were not wanting to correct. Wait, we got another busy week ahead of us. It's not just about everything that has gone on. Last week wasn't just busy because of wrestling and baseball, but we roll into this week. And we're going to start things off here with some pretty big, impactful news lingering around the WWE. And that's going to be, per reports, the WWE agreed to sell the WWE to Endeavors to form a $21 billion live sport brand with the UFC. This article that I'm currently reading, it was actually, let me break it down to you. So I watched WrestleMania 39 last night, and then afterwards they had the press conference. And one of the reporters on the press conference blabbed out, starting with Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns, that the WWE was going to be sold to the UFC partners or parents of Endeavor's group company. And there was really no comment made by Hunter. There was no comment made by Roman or Paul last night. And it got me, I was like, all right, that man made the comment, and I'm sure that if he made the comment, that it doesn't have to be true, but there is some actual conversations going on. So, and I was like, all right, I don't know if I'm going to bring this up. And it kind of sucks because, WrestleMania season is here and we have built up, and today we're supposed to be coming on the air and talking all about wrestling news. But then we get this news first thing in the morning, and the article coming from Bleacher Report is as followed. Okay, the headline is Vince McMahon agrees to sell WWE to Endeavors to form a $21 billion live sport brand with UFC. After roughly 70 years of being in control of the McMahon family, the WWE has sold to Endeavors Group Holdings on Monday. WWE and UFC, which is owned by Endeavor, are merging to form a $21 billion quote-unquote global live sport and entertaining company. With the transaction, UFC was valued at $12.1 billion, and the WWE has a valuation of $9.3 billion. And I quote, "Together, we will be a $21+ billion live sports and entertainment powerhouse with a collective fan base of more than 1 billion people and an exciting growth opportunity." End quote. WWE Executive Chairman Vince McMahon said, "The new company will be positioned to maximize the value of our combined media rights enhance sponsorship and monetization, develop new forms of content, and pursue other strategic mergers and acquisitions to further bolster our strong stable of brands. Endeavor will have a 51% controlling interest, with the remaining 49% in spread across WWE shareholders. After retiring from his position as WWE chairman, CEO, and head of creative in July of 2020, McMahon returned to the company in January 2023 as part of the board of directors, which fueled rumors of potential sale. McMahon, who has re-elected executive chairman shortly after his return, said in a statement at the time that he wanted to have a hand in television rights negotiation because of his status in the WWE controlling shareholder. Just before his return, Lauren Thomas of the Wall Street Journal report that his primary motivation for coming back was to lead discussions in potential sale. CNBC's Alex Sherman later reported the WWE had hired investment banking company JP Morgan an advertisement on a possible sale, and it was noted that the Comcast, Fox, Disney, Warner Bros., Discovery, Netflix, Amazon Endeavors, and Formula One owner Liberty Media were among the potential buyers. One possible buyer not mentioned by Sherman was Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund, and on the night of January 10th, multiple reports surfaced that the WWE either agreed to finalize a deal to sell the company to Saudi Arabia and revert to being private rather than a public trade. It was later reported by Combat Sports Inside Ariel Tilwani that any such reports was premature, as WWE Board of Directors has not yet agreed on to sell the company to an entity. Still, the writing was on the wall for the sales to come regardless of the buyers, and it finally did come to a fruition. Vince K. Kennedy McMahon, grandfather, Jess McMahon, and father Vince J. McMahon, founded the Capital Wrestling Corporation in 1953, which later became the Worldwide Wrestling Federation and then the World Wrestling Federation. In 1982, Vincent J. McMahon sold WWE to his son, and it morphed into the global powerhouse that it became public trade on the New York Stock Exchange in 1999. Due largely to its massive television deals with NBC Universal and Fox, WWE has been more profitable than ever in recent years, which positioned it well to maximize value in sale. While fans and analysts has been bracing for the sale, the focus now shifts towards what it will mean for the product moving forward. McMahon's role in the company and Triple H status as head of creative are two things that will have to be determined by the buyer, provided it haven't been decided already. Since McMahon ran the WWE creative from 1982 until his retirement in 2002, it stands to reason that he would potentially want to resume the role, although he is now 77 years old, and the belief among most fans is that he's lost his creative touch a long time ago. Given its status as a juggernaut in the pro wrestling and sports entertainment space, WWE is here to stay, but now how the company will look in the months and years to come is anyone's guess. All right, so what we're breaking to you this morning, this afternoon, wherever you guys are listening or watching this product, is that the WWE, according to multiple resources on social media, and that I think if I'm not mistaken, he actually went televised to confirm this report that the WWE has been sold to the UFC parent Endeavors Group company. And we have talked about this in previous time, and this is, and I hate to really have to kind of change the direction to begin the show because I wanted to come on the program and talk nothing about professional wrestling, right? I mean, when you see Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns was the highlight of WrestleMania 39, and then we have to go about this breaking news. I think it kind of just puts everything to just a bit halt, in my honest opinion. Um, but you know, according to Triple H in the press conference last night, he says no matter what happens to the WWE, if that's being sold to Endeavors or whatever the case may be, they're not going nowhere. And it's, we talked about potential buyers in the past, and I want to hear your thoughts and your voice of what you guys think about this. But I got, we knew it was time. We knew that eventually that this was going to happen. This is something that back in January, we knew that this was going to happen at some point this year. It could have happened back in January. It could have happened in July. It could have happened in 2024. Vince McMahon came back so that he can make a smooth transition in the selling process, get the bang for your buck, maybe make sure it goes into the right hands. And we don't want it to go into hands that's going to utterly destroy the company in the future. And, as much as maybe we wanted a certain company to own the rights of WWE, or we want, the rights to be passed down to Paul Levesque, or even Disney, or even Dwayne Johnson was a name to mention in the source links. I think Endeavors, especially affiliated with UFC, is a proper transaction. And we have seen throughout the last few decades the WWE and UFC work alongside each other when it comes down to competitors coming back and forth, whether it comes to promotional wise. And UFC is a huge entity that Endeavors plays a huge part of. So the WWE, being purchased by Endeavors, I think is it's the right choice right now for the WWE. And it's not to go, all right, go hit the panic button. This is the last time we'll see the WWE. It's never going to be the same. You're right. It's never going to be the same. It all depends how Endeavors allows the WWE to run. And hopefully we don't see too much of a drastic change in the process. I mean, we will talk about it in this program about WrestleMania 39, and we will talk about how we feel that, Vince, how Hunter did for booking WrestleMania 39. And I think one thing will come to shock to say that, he didn't do that bad. He did pretty well. And, if Endeavor is maybe the overall look of the WWE, right? But then allows the guys in there to still make decisions and to hire this person. You know what I'm saying? Like, Endeavor sits at top saying, all right, we have control, but we're going to allow you to run. We're just going to sign the checks and then let Paul and let, so-and-so do their thing. And I think the WWE will be in good position. I mean, as of right now, right? I mean, we talk about this. May 6th is Backlash in Puerto Rico. And we also talk about WrestleMania 40 that's promoted to be in Philadelphia. I don't think that that Endeavors will change any of that. I don't think that they would ruin what's already in progress. Even Roman Reigns says that they're going to be around forever. So I highly doubt that this deal is you could find any, bad cases in this deal with Endeavors, right? So breaking news, pretty heavily coming out of the program, and I had to share it with you, and I had to talk about it with you. But we got a lot to talk about, you guys. We got 2 hours of the program here right now. We're gonna any more news coming our way, and we'll share it with you. But want to talk a lot about WrestleMania, cover the Cincinnati Reds and local Cincinnati sports over the weekend, and also get you guys ready for the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship match between San Diego State and UConn, which is going to be exciting to see. Be tonight at 9:20 p.m. that you will want to go check that out at. So a lot's going on today. And I think, like I said, that news, the official news of the WWE being sold, I think just kind of, for me, puts a bit of a damper, because right now that is part of as big as what we saw last night. And when we come back from our first break, we'll talk about the Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns night 2 of WrestleMania, as we start breaking down everything that we thought and our thoughts and opinions about WrestleMania 39. So let's get on ready. Grab your popcorn, grab your drinks, and grab a seat. Get yourself comfortable, because we got a lot to talk about. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, we thank you. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Be sure to have those notifications on and don't miss a single episode. If you guys are tuning us in on Facebook or on Twitter, we thank you. We welcome you to the program. Be sure to hit that like button, share it with a friend, and join in the action by hitting on over to our YouTube page and leaving comments down below. If you guys are also listening to us on audio platforms, we appreciate that. We are all, the Throw-In is on all major platforms. So be sure to follow and download every episode. Don't miss a single segment. And we got a lot to talk about today. So I'm going to take our first time out of the program, take you guys up until 2. Thank you guys for being loyal fans and listening to us and making us your number one sports show. We'll be right back here. You guys are listening to The Throw-In on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. .22 here on the program. I want to give a big shout out to StreamYard Studios, the proud home of the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. If you guys are looking to create podcasts, videos, host virtual business meetings, or even conduct interviews, recommend checking out StreamYard.com. They got overlays, tickers, banners, upload videos, invite guests onto the program, all that fun stuff. And we wouldn't be anywhere without StreamYard.com. Check out their free version today, StreamYard.com. Oh boy. What a way to start off the week. What a way to start off the episode, talking about the breaking news that lingered. And yeah, if you guys missed the opening segment, breaking news, Vince McMahon has sold the WWE to UFC's parent Endeavor Groups to combine a $21 billion sports groups / entertainment business. And I think this is it's big news. It's a new change. And I think it kind of takes that warrant over WrestleMania that we'll get into here in just a minute. Want to go ahead, though, and make sure I take this time to let you guys know, promote this theater play that will be taking place this weekend. And this play is called Love's Not Enough. is presented by Enlightened Studios, written and directed by Terry Chappell II. And a good friend of mine, he came to me back in January, said, "Hey, listen, want to go do an interviews with you, have the cast have its platforms of interviews on your program." I'm like, sure. So we did a whole bunch of interviews back in January, and then it was such a success because it was a original work done back in 2019. He says, "All right, we're going to do an encore weekend performance this weekend, Easter weekend, and let's work together on promoting." So we've been promoting it since then, day one. But they're going to have two performances on April 7th at 7 p.m. and then on April 8th at 3 p.m. at the Community Arts Center in Fairfield, Ohio. If you haven't been, I encourage you guys to go because tickets are going out fast. And thanks to Terry and the Enlightened Studios, we will be actually out there live for the first time ever. The TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel is taking a episode live on the road at the Community Arts Center in Fairfield, Ohio. So if you guys also want to come out and check us out, support us, we'll be interviewing guests, getting you guys ready for the weekend with the Cincinnati Reds heading off over to Philadelphia. We'll have audience members. We'll do 2 hours from 5 to 7 Friday night on the way over there, and then we'll come back an hour afterwards, and check out what's been happening, and what people think of the place. So Love's Not Enough. Get your tickets today at the Community Arts Center in Fairfield, Ohio. All right, so WrestleMania. We got to talk about WrestleMania. We actually got to talk about WrestleMania weekend. So I'm gonna have a different thought process than a lot of people, and maybe you guys will like it, maybe you guys won't. It's your opinion. So I watched SmackDown, and I think that's the only way to kick things off is to you start off with SmackDown because we had a couple of things ahead of us. We also had the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and predictably we saw Bobby Lashley win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and I still felt that Andre the Giant, or that Bobby Lashley, needed to be a little bit more involved into WrestleMania. And to be honest, I didn't quite see that at all. And I'm a bit disappointed. We saw Bobby Lashley be presented at WrestleMania with the Andre the Giant, but I think a lot of people were expecting some sort of encounter that he would be a part of during the WrestleMania events. And one of the, encounters that I think a lot of people should, recognize is we're also maybe disappointed not to see LA Knight a part of WrestleMania this year. He was kind of leading on towards maybe having a secretive feud with Stone Cold Steve Austin. We felt, or at least I felt, and I agreed among others who felt this way, that, LA Knight should have made some sort of appearance at WrestleMania, saying, "I want a WrestleMania match. Why won't you give me a WrestleMania match?" And then we go on to see, either Bobby Lashley or even Stone Cold kind of, answer that call. And we didn't really get a chance to see it. So kicking things off WrestleMania weekend, Bobby Lashley, congratulations, winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And then we head into the Hall of Fame ceremony, and watching that intention, it was a great sight to see. But we're not going to make our focus on that. Let's make our focus on to night one of WrestleMania. And before we even get to night one of WrestleMania, let's talk about NXT Stand and Deliver, because I want to make sure I point this out. Like, I'm not going to get too much into, each and every match and the details, because we got a lot to talk about. But I want to give you my overall thoughts of NXT Stand and Deliver it has always been a platform for the WWE to sit there and use NXT Stand and Deliver, not only to show the WWE universe what they have coming up in the developmental stage, but NXT has became a brand of its own where they actually start setting the tone to for WrestleMania. And NXT Stand and Deliver will have their show on Saturday, and right now it's Saturday during the day, and then leads into WrestleMania at night. And usually it tries to, and they try to do this is their WrestleMania, and I saw NXT, and for someone who doesn't watch a lot of NXT Stand and Deliver is that yearly show that you kind of just tune into, because you also see, all right, are titles changing, who could potentially be called up Monday night after WrestleMania, all that fun stuff. And I don't know, because I was very fascinated about the way that NXT Stand and Delivered came through on Saturday afternoon. I was intense. I was electrified. They blew the roof off the place, in all honesty. And we saw that. No, I mean, we saw an amazing ladder match for the women's NXT Women's Championship. We also saw an incredible NXT North American Championship, which was, I'm going to say this, balls to the walls from the very first second that from the right when the bell rang. And I think they really set the tone to a point where I was wondering if WWE was capable of us, because sometimes night one is good enough and it eases up into night two. But then I tuned into night one of WrestleMania, and we kick off with John Cena and Austin Theory. I'm like, all right, here we go. We're going to see something spectacular. Maybe we'll kind of get a chance to see some things that we like. And I wouldn't say that that WWE night one, WrestleMania night one, was bad. There was a lot of exciting things to watch. I just don't know if WrestleMania night one lived up to be better than NXT Stand and Deliver, to be honest. And so I was, I think I wrote this on the TNC Sports Talk Facebook page. If you haven't gotten a chance to review it, I kind of give you some quick thoughts about some key matches of WrestleMania night one. And one thing I stated in that article that I wrote was that I was itching to find something spectacular out of WrestleMania night one. And I don't think that I really got that opportunity to see anything that I really just stood out in that sense. So, I mean, we had Logan Paul and, Seth Rollins. And maybe if Logan Paul won and he got booed out of the arena, stadium, then for me, it would have been a complete other thing, and something different. I was watching Dominic and Ray, which could have been my favorite match of night one, and I was like, okay, it was interesting. I liked how think that was one of my favorite, because I wasn't anticipating everything to go down like it did on night one. Rhea and Charlotte definitely impressed me a lot more than I figured, and I thought that that Asuka and Bianca would have been a better match, but I think Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair actually did a lot better than Asuka and Bianca Belair. Now, that's given that they also maybe the placement of their match card on the WrestleMania. And then we get into the undisputed WWE tag team titles. And I think for me, it was sweet because we saw that story get completed. But we've been seeing that story get completed from day one. Okay. We could technically claim that we knew how the story was going to be going. We were projecting everything, that had to go on for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens to go on and capture those titles. And we saw that. And I think that's great. And I don't want to give it, I'm not, bashing anything that they've done, but when you knew what was going to happen in that outcome at the main event night one, it was kind of like, all right, great, we got to see everything, but it didn't give me that whoa factor. They really didn't much elevate it or surprise me any much of that. I was already expecting some of this to happen. And I think right there was where I say, okay, NXT Stand and Deliver It, I thought was definitely better than night one of WrestleMania. Now, as I mentioned, Sami Zayn and the Usos and Kevin Owens, fantastic match. Main event worthy match. We wanted it to be a main event, and so we saw it be main event. But, and we'll talk about this in hour number 2, but like I said, and there was stuff, and you told the story in the ring. And that's what I liked. I liked telling that story in the ring when it came down to these 4 men, because that's what the buildup was. And you got a chance to see a little bit of everything. You got a chance to see Kevin Owens. You got a chance to see the Usos, both Jimmy and Jay, annihilate Sami Zayn, which has been the number one key problem for the bloodline for the past 8 months. Right? And then you saw Kevin Owens try to come in and get involved and help out. And then it was just back and forth. And then you finally get a chance to see, I don't think there was a dull moment in that tag team match. And I think that it completed that story. And so night one was a good night. And I'm not anyone to go give night one of WrestleMania a prediction, but when I'm comparing night one of WrestleMania to night two was better, right? If I was comparing night one of WrestleMania to NXT Stand and Deliver, this would be more of a challenging one, but I am going to go NXT Stand and Deliver because of a few great, incredible matches that just elevated and made you almost want to tune in to Tuesday night at NXT Stand and Deliver. So let's come on back and talk about NXT WrestleMania night 2. And let's finally talk about that main event between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns as the throw-in continues. Bottom half of hour number 1 coming up next here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
I want to live your life. I want to dream your dreams. Lick the moves, catch the stars in the night. Every superpower that is yours will be mine. I'll be that it girl, pouting mouth, crossing the line.
Alrighty, welcome on back here to the program. Thank you guys for tuning in to the throw-in here, bottom half of hour number 1. And we have a lot to talk about as you guys see some of the highlights for WrestleMania 39. I'm excited. Okay, so let's get right down to business. Okay. Roman Reigns takes care of business on last night and goes on to defeat Cody Rhodes and retains the undisputed WWE championship. And so there was one thing that, okay, let me first of all say this was an incredible match. And I think it played out perfectly because you really couldn't get mad who won and walked away as a champion. On one hand, we have Cody Rhodes, who is trying to capture the dream and capture the title that his family has never been able to grab. And so coming back from a pectoral tear that led into surgery, going on to win the men's 2023 Royal Rumble match, he gave his chance to kind of just insert himself into the title picture. And then you get Roman Reigns, who has been carrying the WWE for nearly 3 years, who has been knocking down every opponent that's came up. And this, and he was also on the verge of 25 days or 1,000 days. It's about 50 days or less away from reaching 1,000 days of that title reign. And so a lot of questions, I think, led into WrestleMania. All right. I think a lot of fan base wanted to instantly said, all right, we need that change. Let's go ahead and put the title on Cody. He's that big level star. And then, but I think the real people are talking or listening to this program are saying, all right, Roman needs to go over that 1,000-day threshold. This story is slowly falling, but he is still at the top of the head of the table in the WWE. Now, I want to make this clear because I don't think that Cody doesn't deserve this title, just not yet. Okay. And the longer Roman Reigns gets deeper into this, streak, this, you need to, I think, understand that whoever does dethrone, because there's a possibility that Cody Rhodes does not come back to dethrone Roman Reigns. Whoever does decide to dethrone Roman Reigns, that story leading up to it and up to that match and up to dethroning him, it needs to be a couple months invested. And it has to come to the point where it gets to that level, right? He built his way up. He's lost a few times. He's putting his, I guess what you say, life on the line to say, all right, this is it. Or, I'm like, no, there's no more of me. And when you think of that, the only person that comes to mind right now, it's Sami Zayn. I mean, he's been dealing with this, 8-month storyline with the bloodline. But last night, I think it was the right choice by keeping that title on Roman Reigns. And I don't care how you did it. The fact that you did it. Okay. And I think the only way, and I think there's appreciation shown for having Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and the remainder of the bloodline get involved. I was waiting for that moment where they got involved. And trust me, there was moments where I was like on the edge because for majority of this match was clean. Besides having Solo Sikoa do those little attacks that led him up to being disqualified because he ended up slapping Cody with his weight belt that the referee finally heard. And he's like, no, we're not going to deal with this anymore. So for me, I think this was necessary. And I think it was more important to see everyone a part of this bloodline feud get involved and be a part of this. Excuse me. You got a chance to even see Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens get a piece of Roman Reigns and get a piece of Roman Reigns at the hands of themselves. And for a moment, you thought, okay, maybe Cody Rhodes will go on and win. Now, as soon as I saw the Usos, or as soon as I saw Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn come out to even the playing field, and then they got themselves their hands on Roman Reigns, I knew right then and there that Cody couldn't win. And let me tell you why. Because when Cody wins, he's talking about this dream that he has, this must-win scenario, right? If this was a full-on clean match, Cody Rhodes had a great chance of winning. He could only win when he has to be able to tackle on Roman Reigns, and he has to tackle on the entire bloodline by himself in order to win. He can't have no help. He can't have no help from Sami. He can't have any help from Kevin Owens. And honestly, in my opinion, the bloodline should not be a part of it when Cody does, if and when he does take that undisputed WWE Universal Championship from Roman. It should just be Roman and it should be Cody. And that's it. It should be a one-on-one battle. Because you could right now use this excuse this Friday night that Roman had help. You know what? All right, he did. All right, because at the very end of the match, you saw Solo Sikoa, who was ejected from ringside, come back, attack Cody Rhodes, costing him that championship match. And so, what does this lead to for both men and both sides? Well, one, as a WWE fan, all right, you got a lot of heartfelt emotion because, you know, you just didn't know when this match was going to end or how it was going to end. So, some real good, you know, things happened during the match. And I think it's intriguing to see what comes later because I do want to see Cody Rhodes get his shine, but that feud has to build. And so how do we have to build that feud? Cody Rhodes has to take a step back and say, all right, Roman Reigns, I came close to beating Roman Reigns, but I didn't take out the bloodline. And there is still a lingering factor. So if I'm Cody Rhodes, I'm coming back and saying, all right, I'm not done with this. We're not over. But in order to get you one-on-one, I need to somehow take out the bloodline itself. And one of the things that has been maybe promising for a upcoming potential match in a feud, including the bloodline, is seeing Cody Rhodes team up with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania Backlash to take on the bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Jimmy, and Jey Uso. And I think that's honestly, that's where I'm favorite towards. And that's where I'm leaning towards if you're asking me, in all honesty. I would like to see that. It gives Roman some time off. It does, you know, I think it would be, you know, you also think about this business move heading down to Puerto Rico for Backlash in May. You'd want the Universal Champion there because he's your number one hard-heading settlement. You kind of want him also in London, and you also want him in Saudi Arabia. I think WWE fans across the globe still want a chance to see Roman Reigns. But what we did see over the weekend is this deteriorating fall of the bloodline. Because the Usos did lose their tag team titles to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And I've heard this around from a few other people, and I'm like, all right, I'm scratching my head. Does this make sense? Does it not make sense? But it does. And definitely to the press conference that Roman Reigns addressed to everyone last night at WrestleMania Access is that this is a story. And Roman Reigns challenges anyone, past, present, or future, to come up and tell this story just as great as this family is telling the story. And the WWE and the Bloodline has been telling this story that has grown, throughout the last, I say, 3 years, right? And now you kind of you see the rise of the Bloodline. Well, is it time to also see the downfall? And I think that the downfall of the Bloodline should just be as long as the rise of the Bloodline. This is a family thing that not many storylines have the capability of holding and telling and sitting back and watching this unfold, because we're so glued as fans that we have to watch what's next. We follow this journey. And whether it's from Solo Sikoa now, who's playing a huge part in this bloodline now, Jimmy or Jey Uso losing the titles, and also Roman Reigns now pushing towards 1,000-day marker. Yeah, we do want to see this. You can't lead up 3 years of building the bloodline to one night of it completely falling apart. And I don't even think the 3 months from, I would say, the Royal Rumble is a good start, that the bloodline has been, that's not enough time to tell that story of falling apart. I mean, families do have issues, and who knows if they end up coming back on top again before they fall again. So, this story, I think, is long from over. But for me, I look at this and I'm like, Roman Reigns is on a complete other level than the rest of the WWE universes, even Cody Rhodes, in my opinion. And I think that's once in a lifetime, because I can't even say that John Cena was on a different level than the rest of the WWE locker room. I could say maybe Hulk Hogan or Andre the Giant was on a different level than the rest of the locker room, but I can't say that about growing up, that we had an authentic athlete that was on a completely different level than what we see Roman Reigns on. It is a once in a lifetime atmosphere that we see a person, a athlete, a megastar be above the rest of the locker room. What does this mean to WrestleMania, to Cody Rhodes moving forward? I think is also a good question to ask. And I think you ask yourself, and I'm like, I don't think this does much to him. I think I felt at the beginning it could have, but I don't think it quite does much to him as we expect. He's still considered at the top. I still think that he just needs to find the different path to get to Roman that doesn't include the bloodline getting involved. And so for the next 4 or 5 months heading into SummerSlam, I think that's what you focus on, and that is his ultimate goal. You have Backlash that's coming up, and I think I'm favorite towards the the 6-man tag team match that hopefully we could see. But then you also get things like, all right, I got to take Solo Sikoa one-on-one. What do I have to do? Maybe take on the Usos one-on-one. Help with, Sammy. It's gonna take a team to take out the Bloodline. Although the Usos lost, the Bloodline's still together. They didn't just lose and then annihilate the Bloodline. So this is now that next, I guess, to put it the best way, chapter. The next chapter. Hunter said this the best. The story is never over. We're just closing this chapter and we're opening and beginning a new chapter in this. So, our number 1 is complete. We'll come on back. We still have a lot more WrestleMania conversations to talk about. But coming up next, let's give you the highlights and look for the Cincinnati Reds. They took 2 out of 3 against Pittsburgh Pirates. We'll tell you all about that in hour number 2. Don't go nowhere. Thank you guys for tuning into The Throne here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Welcome back here to The Throne, hour number 2 coming your way. As hour number 1 was, I think, pretty impressive and big. Welcome back. Justin here. Take you guys up until 2 o'clock this afternoon. Breaking news, if you guys didn't hear about this to kick off the program, Vince McMahon has sold the WWE to UFC Parents Endeavors Group. Big merge that leads into $21 billion among group in sports entertainment all across the board, which is pretty big news in my opinion. But man, we're talking about WrestleMania 39, which leads into hour number 2 and what we have to talk about. We do want to talk about the Cincinnati Reds, as we are still local sports. They picked up the series of victory, and we'll get into that here in the moment. But in hour number 2, what do we look for here? I still want to talk a little bit about WrestleMania 39, the likes and the dislikes, some of the story modes that we still have in place heading and moving forward, because I think a valid point is that as stories are never finished in the WWE, they're just a chapter closing to a new chapter opening. So, and coming off the big breaking news that we heard earlier, we are kind of skeptic about the future of the WWE, but my belief, I still think that the WWE is in good hands. And they're going to keep holding, going strong down the future. I mean, they got the Backlash in Puerto Rico. They got Saudi Arabia. They got London here all before SummerSlam. And then they got WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia next year. And I don't, obviously we're not going to see anything happen overnight. And I would be reminiscent to see, this mega entry, something happen overnight. But we could very well see something happen in the near future. What is that? And I don't know. Basically, WWE shareholders now own 49% of the company, as Endeavors owns 51%. All right. We're going to go ahead and break down local news, sports, and information, everything that you need to know here. Kicking things off with the Cincinnati Cyclones, who had a 3-game weekend series, kicking things off on Friday against the Stingrays, as they got shut out 11-0 They wrap up the month of March, 11 wins and 2 losses. Pretty incredible as they hit to the final stretch of the season before the playoffs. They took on the Nailers on Saturday and Sunday. Saturday they won 5-1 as they also beat the Nailers 4-3. So kicking off the month of April on a pretty hot streak going with 2 weeks remaining. The Cyclones are on the road against the Walleyes. Next game will be on Friday at 7:15 p.m. The Cincinnati Bearcats hosted the Wichita State as they dropped the first 2 games on Saturday and Sunday to avoid a sweep on Sunday. Final score 9-8. Cincinnati Bearcats moved to 12-17. They're 1-2 in conference play. The next game will be tomorrow at 2 p.m. at home against Wright State. Xavier Musketeers. They took on Northern Illinois over the weekend as they swept the Musketeers over the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and they move on to 16-12 with this 6-game winning streak, 3-2 at home, 13-10 on the road. The next game awaits for Tuesday in the Joe Nuxhall Classic. The next game is on Tuesday, April 11th, which is a whole week away. They will be playing against Wright State. Times and dates still permissible, so I guess we're still lingering on that. All right, let's get into some Cincinnati baseball action here as they ended up taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates game 2 on Saturday, and they go on to beat the Pirates. Final score is 6-2. Nick Lodolo goes 5 innings, giving up 7 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts allowed. He threw 109 pitches in Saturday's victory. Tyler Stevenson went 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Kevin Newman 2 for 4, a run, 2 RBIs with a home run there. And then on Sunday, the Pirates go on and in the rubber match series goes on and clinch the weekend opening series against the Pirates with the final score 3-1. Graham Ashcraft, 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, 95 pitches. TJ Frito, 2 for 4 with a home run, as well as Jason Vossler, 2 for 4, a home run, 2 walks, and 4. So, way to go for Jason Vossler in his outing. And, listen, this is the type of things that I think we're looking towards this season. So I mentioned this earlier. My focus point is being able to captivate and clinch every series victory we can, right? And I think it starts off with beating the teams that we know we can win. And Pittsburgh Pirates is one of those teams on the list. And as the list goes on, I mean, there were some questions heading into the weekend after the loss with Pittsburgh on Thursday. And so we wanted to see a good outing from Nick Lodolo. We wanted to see a good outing from Graham Ashcraft. And we got a chance to see those two good outings. And I'm very pleased about those 2 outings and seeing those 2 guys come back and bounce back and show us that this could be a 3 with Hunter Green on the same page. This could be a 3-game or 3 pitching rotation that you feel comfortable about every 5 days. And that's what I want to see on a weekly basis. And here's my other thing. I don't need to see Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, or Graham Ashcraft every 5 days pitching shutout, going 7 innings, although that would be nice. But I want to see them go, if Hunter Green doesn't, take care, if Hunter Green can't get the job done, relying on Nick Lodolu and Graham Ashcraft, and then vice versa. And then you just hope that between Luis Sessa and Connor Overton, at some point, we can see them have a couple good outings that we need. And so I think it was very impressive to see 5, 6, 7 innings worked out of the Nick Lodolu and Graham Ashcraft, because it's a positive note moving forward. And then to see, a couple home runs hit by TJ Friedel, Jason Vosler, Kevin Newman. I still don't think that the Reds are going to be that powerful hitter, that they expect to be. But I believe that we can see these guys start building confidence. Once they can start building confidence, I'm most certainly interested in seeing how they move forward. All right, they come on and continue their series starting tonight. New series against the Chicago Cubs comes in tonight's game day 1 and 2. First pitch is at 6:40 p.m. and they will have left-handed pitcher Drew Smyly on the mound for the Cubbies, as we will also see Connor Overton get his first start of the season for the Cincinnati Reds, who are 2-1. It's going to be held at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Ohio. I believe tickets are still available. You guys can head out to the game tonight if you guys are looking or interested in going. Alrighty, let's look into how the remainder of the team's done this weekend. On Saturday, the Milwaukee Brewers beat the Chicago Cubs 3-1, as the Blue Jays fall to the Cardinals 4-1. And then wrapping up those series on Sunday, the Cardinals beat the Blue Jays 9-4, as the Brewers beat the Cubs 9-5 to finish up the weekend series against in the NL Central. They'll go on and continue gameplay today as the Cubs and Reds 6:40. The Brewers will have their first home game at 2:10 today against the New York Mets right after this program, and the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Atlanta Braves at 7:45 p.m. tonight. So that is your NL Central. And if you guys are T-Mobile, if you guys have T-Mobile and you guys are baseball fans, and you guys want to catch games, they have a package available tomorrow morning starting at 6 p.m. Eastern time, where you can get the free version from T-Mobile Tuesdays, and you could download get the free plan that they have, which is all the out-of-market games, and what about for Major League Baseball. And that's not just Major League Baseball. I believe that's for that's $150 value for free for being a loyal T-Mobile customer. That's, I believe, everything that's out of market. So that's not on TV. That's not on, that's not your local team. So like, it's the Cincinnati Reds because they play on local TV, or any team that's on, Fox or ESPN. You'll get all the other coverages. You'll also get the coverage of the audio games, and then all minor league games as well, I believe. So I'm excited to bring that to you tomorrow as that aheads. All right, let's take a break. Let's come on back and get you guys ready for more wrestling. Before we actually do that, I want to go ahead and wish the best of luck to San Diego State and UConn, as NCAA men's basketball championship will conclude tonight at 9:20 p.m. Eastern time, where San Diego State takes on UConn in the championship game. And I like it. I think San Diego State is going to be what we consider the underdog in this game, just because they're ranked number 5, but they both are very, very impressive to watch. And they've really gone a long way throughout the course of this NCAA March Madness season. So we'll come back tomorrow, talk about the winner of all that fun stuff of the NCAA championship game and all that fun stuff there. All right, so let's take a timeout. Come on back. Let's bring you more WrestleMania talk as we give you thoughts and opinions leading up until 2 o'clock here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Alrighty, top stories coming out of the world of wrestling today. WWE, UFC, parent company Endeavor's announced merger. Reports from Hollywood, Endeavor's UFC, WWE to merge. Ari Emanuel to serve as CEO as Vince McMahon. Articles read 2 hours ago, UFC, WWE combined to form $21.4 billion in sports entertainment company. And that's from the AP News. Variety, Endeavor, WWE acquisition deal reached on night 1 of WrestleMania in Los Angeles. That's, for me, that's going to be the news to talk about for quite some time as we move forward. But WrestleMania was still the highlight of the show. And as we talk about WrestleMania, you can't help but talk about the controversial finish that led between Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. And I'm sorry to say it, but Roman Reigns is not done. The bloodline is not done. Yes, maybe they are falling towards a bloodline fall at some point. And we saw a little bit about that over the weekend as Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens defeated the Usos for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. But Roman Reigns still stands very tall as he goes on and retains his championship at WrestleMania 39. And I think that's one of the biggest stories coming out of WrestleMania. And, you know, according to press conference, it's, for me, it's beyond matches. For me, it's beyond this storyline. It's something that I think Roman Reigns right now is on a complete different level than any other wrestler in the company. And we haven't seen something like this out of the WWE, at least in, I say, almost 30 years. Because even John Cena wasn't at Roman Reigns' level when he was at the top of the company. The Undertaker has not been at Roman Reigns' level at top of the company. Stone Cold Steve Austin has not been at the top at Roman Reigns' level when he was at top of the company. Maybe Hulk Hogan back in the early 90s was the only guy considerably to be at the top of the company at the same level as Roman Reigns. And this is a story that is not planning on ending anytime soon. And why would you want it to end? Why is it time to end? You know, I've always been sitting here and claiming, I've sat here and I've claimed time and time again that Roman Reigns needs a break. Well, you know what? You're beyond that merge. my friend. You're beyond that. Roman Reigns, you need Roman Reigns. You need Roman Reigns, especially leading up to the SummerSlam, because you got Puerto Rico, which you haven't been there in 15 years. You need Roman Reigns for Saudi Arabia. You need Roman Reigns for London. You need Roman Reigns for SummerSlam. So why drop the title on him? I mean, I'm not saying that Cody Rhodes isn't that type of person that can hold that ground, but he's most definitely not at Roman Reigns' level. And as long as he's up there, why not throw the title to him? Why not let's let him keep it? He's less than 50 days away from marking that 1,000-day threshold, which is something that, when was the last time we've seen a title reign above 1,000 days? That's 3+ years of being champion. That is defending it successfully against well over 25+ other men, dated back from Ray to Edge to Bryan Danielson to Brock Lesnar to John Cena. I mean, he's beaten everyone in the company, including Cody Rhodes now, Seth Rollins, even his own bloodline. I mean, I think what frustrates me is that there's really no one else that can come up and dethrone him. And I know I've talked about in the past, we could potentially see a guy like Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker is not hyped enough to dethrone him. He's not going to get the heat that the WWE is going to want when it's time to dethrone him. So you know what you do? Cody Rhodes goes on and just keeps on working. All right. He lost battle number 1. Well, what do you got to do? Why did you lose battle number 1? Thanks to the bloodline, getting in the way. Okay. Roman Reigns can't defeat you on his own. Let's be honest with that now. Now we know the colors. Now you have to take out the bloodline in order to get to Roman Reigns. And I think for the net between now and SummerSlam, that is going to be the tail of the take, is the process to go and get rid of the bloodline. The Usos already lost their titles. Solo Sikoa looks like he can't be controlled, and he doesn't really seem to care for what the tribal chief has to say, which then leads down to Backlash May 6th in Puerto Rico as the bloodline takes on Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens. Another story that is also, I think, set up to be a multi-match story has to be with, and let me pop it up here. I think it has to be with Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio. Night 1 of WrestleMania, we saw Dominic and Rey. I think a lot of people wanted to see it. A lot of people enjoyed it. And I think Dominic still has so much to learn. I think he's going to learn much with Rey Mysterio facing Rey. I think, but Rey has given Dominic the chance to, finally, have this match at WrestleMania. And I think both of them needed it, because I think this is one of the better performances I've seen out of Rey Mysterio. And if he's looking to be around until he's 50 years old, and he much can, I think it's going to be primarily because of this feud between him and Dom. And the way that this match ended, you had the bloodline come out. You had, is it Legado? Not Phantasma. I think so. Isn't that Santos Escobar and his group? I'm sorry if I forgot the name, but you get these two, group of men, and then you see Bad Bunny who's put a stop to Dominic Mysterio and then costing him the match, I think, ultimately. And you see like Rey Mysterio pick up the victory, and it's like, oh, there you go. It's a nice, sweet moment. But deep down inside, the storyline's not over. You know why? Because Dominic is gonna now, I think, keep on going after Ray, and I ultimately think, and I maybe I hate to say this, I think calling it now when it's time for Ray to lose, he will go on and lose in a retirement match against his father or against his son, Dominic, in the making. And I think right now how the storyline is built towards, both men, that we can see a SummerSlam match and we could even see a WrestleMania 40 match that ends up retiring Rey Mysterio. That's my opinion. But, WWE is notorious for certain things. That means Rey Mysterio is going to have to stay healthy and all that good stuff. So I want to share with you real quick something that I kind of saw, and maybe for the first time in my life, I've really just appreciated what has happened out there. Now, we sit back and we talk about, oh, these guys need to go hang up the boots when it's time for them done. I've heard this conversation time and time again. I've heard it, and I've been a part of these conversations about guys like Edge, Rey Mysterio. My brother got into it with me on a Saturday night, I believe, because of John Cena and Austin Theory. And then, I got a chance to just sit back and actually watch Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio do battle. And the thing that I suppress about that as I was watching it is these guys are what I grew up watching professional wrestling in. I grew up on John Cena being the face of the company. I grew up on Randy Orton and Edge and Dolph Ziggler, and I would even throw in Kofi Kingston, Big E, Rey Mysterio. These guys, night in and night out, growing up to watch SmackDown, that's what I grew up in, even The Miz. Okay. And so when, something that I was kind of taking a step back and realizing is that, Brock Lesnar, when these guys are out there in the ring and they're trying that, they are claiming that they can still do it and do it to the best of their ability. Okay. And one thing that we get so caught up in is trying to push the product so forward that we want to drop everything that we came to love and enjoy the sport to begin with, and all the guys who made it fun for us. Right? So what I'm trying to say is that Edge is one of those guys who made it fun for us. Rey Mysterio is one of those guys who made wrestling fun for us. John Cena was that guy. Randy Orton was that guy. Kofi Kingston was that guy. The Miz, even if you hated him, was one of those guys that made wrestling fun back in the early 2000s and 2010s, that you sit here and a lot of people say, all right, it's time for them to leave. And I'm not going to go out there and say that I disagree with them fully, because I'm that type of person that wants to remember these athletes for when they are for when they're on the winning streak, like Goldberg, and all, I want to remember for the positive things. And I think sometimes when you have too many negative things, it ruins your career. But, when I was seeing back this past weekend, I got a chance to really just look and watch what my childhood had to offer today in that ring at WrestleMania 39 to what the future is to look like down the road. Right? We're talking about how, you could recall like 5-6 years ago, it was the Triple H and the Undertakers who we relied on to give us pastime experiences. Well, it's now Edge, it's now John Cena, it's now Randy Orton, even though he's injured, it's now Rey Mysterio. And one day, all that is going to be done and out of the way with. Like, they're no longer going to be in the WWE. They're no longer going to wrestle. And it's nice to be able to show our kids, right? This is what we watched down the road and what we watched in the future, in our past, what the reasons why we love it, and kind of give them a little bit of that taste. So this past weekend was also, I think, monumental for me because of everything that we got a chance to see. And when we got a chance to see Rey take on his son, I can relate. And I think the first thing that came to our minds, especially about last night in the Hell in a Cell match that we saw between Finn Balor and Edge, I think is the question is, all right, well, the type of Edge we needed to see, besides the stuff that we saw in the entrance and, bringing that the Brood and all that fun stuff. But we need to see the Edge that can go the 20 minutes nonstop and not look like he's winded after one blow. Same thing with Rey Mysterio. And what we saw with Rey Mysterio yesterday, or back on Saturday, excuse me, but one thing we saw on Rey Mysterio on Saturday was that he was capable. He looked like he was in the best shape of his life. And he gave us a performance to remember. There was no lacking moments. And it looked like he got a little bit banged up when Dominic threw him against the turnbuckle. And, he kind of got maybe his, the wind knocked out of him. But, he had a performance to remember. Same thing with, same thing going on with Edge last night. I mean, it's a Hell in a Cell match. You're going through tables, you're going on top of ladders, and all that fun stuff. And it's important that he had that type of performance to, if this was his last match or if he's going to have another match. And I don't know what the future is, and hopefully we may find some answers tonight, but whatever goes on with Edge down the road, I think this last match has been remarkable for Edge. He was able to go. He didn't look fatigued. He didn't look like he was, tired or exhausted. So I encourage you, if you guys are a fan, to go back and watch that time, because not a lot of people are growing up to be the John Cena fans or the Edge fans as we used to see them. And those days are numbered. Those days are not going to be around forever. So we need to, I think it was just incredible to be able to take a step back, to look, and to really just acknowledge what WrestleMania had to offer, because this could very well be one of, the last times we see these guys all together in the ring doing that one thing. So we're going to have, I don't know, little touchy feelings for me here. All right, let's head to our last break of the program. Let's get you guys ready, because, we could talk about WrestleMania until we're blue in the face, but WrestleMania continues in tonight. WrestleMania, the Monday Night Raw after Mania is the big conversation. We could potentially see returns. What's next for these talent athletes as we look forward to Raw? You guys are listening to The Throw-In here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
never sleep in traffic. Just living steady penny. I look at such a that I see. Tell me with your hands until then. Wonder what your things are like. Need to get your bills paid. That's what you say. I guess I'm just too fake for that. So sit down, listen.
Alrighty, welcome on back here to the throne. Bottom half of the hour, bottom half of the program on this Monday afternoon, midday, however you guys want to consider this. I'd like to give a big shout out to Epidemic Sound. Discover your world class artists, composers, and bands. Find the perfect soundtrack and give your social media accounts the music they deserve. Epidemic Sound is a royalty free music link. For more information, check out epidemicsound.com. You know, breaking news all throughout the morning here in something I just think it's important that we need to talk about. And it's going to be hard to make the transition if there's a transition at all, especially early on. But the breaking news reports of Vince McMahon has officially sold the WWE and now will be partnered with UFC as parent, as the new owners, CEOs of WWE is Endeavors Group. And this is to combine a $21.4 billion sports entertainment company among UFC and WWE. And, you know, it's going to be interesting as this conversation holds. And, you know, with WrestleMania, the direction that the WWE is moving forward in. And some people are going to like it. Some people are not going to like it. I knew that this was something that was coming here in the, on the unfortunate future. And I think I'm better off understanding and being accepted that this Endeavors is the one who owns it, you know, instead of maybe putting it into some wrong hands. I don't think this is the wrong hands at all. You know, I think that Endeavors can allow the WWE to grow as they're growing now, especially as the future. All right. So after WrestleMania, the fun doesn't stop. The excitement doesn't stop as WWE Monday Night Raw kicks underway, and we got to get ready for that. So that is still to come, coming up here after this quick promotional ad.
Like no one can. Where is your heart? What does it look like? Bruised, damaged, or mistreated. Where is your heart? What does it look like? What do you do with the feelings you feel?
Alrighty. Love's Not Enough, presented by Enlightened Studios, written and directed by Terry Chappell II, is back at it again this weekend, April 7th at 7 p.m. and on April 8th at 3 p.m. 2 performances. Get your tickets now at the Community Arts Center in Fairfield, Ohio. From its original performance back in 2019, Terry has basically just updated it with more advanced stories and drama, as much as also comical scenery during the play. And it was such a success back in January. They're going to do it again. The tickets are already going out so fast. So if you guys have nothing to do this weekend, want to go check out the Love's Not Enough theater play, I highly recommend it. April 7th and April 8th, 2 performances at the Community Arts Center. And we will be doing our Friday episode live there at the Community Arts Center, 5 to 7. Can't wait. I'm extremely excited for everything to come at that end. So be talking more about it this week. And just looking forward to seeing you guys out there. All right. So WrestleMania has come and gone, and tonight is Monday Night Raw. And we get to see a few things kind of progress, but questions, right? Because as WrestleMania ends, Monday Night Raw is the biggest aftermath party to what could happen. Who could return? So let's talk about some crazy things that could happen on the Raw side of things, right? So first of all, Edge wins. Edge goes on and wins and beats the Demon Finn Balor at WrestleMania. Now, I really thought, because this should have been a year of the Judgment Day, that the Judgment Day would have wiped clean at WrestleMania. That's what I was hoping for. So now I think lurks the question, what's the next step for Edge? If you ask me, as you know, there's really nothing much more Edge needs to do, in my opinion. There's no other feud. I mean, if anyone was to take him out, it would have been Finn Balor, right? I mean, made perfect sense. But this also doesn't necessarily stop, because, you know, they'll tell the story how Edge is trying to get back at Finn Balor for taking him out of the organization that he created. And we saw the Demon, and Edge beat the Demon. I thought this should have been a motivating factor for the Demon to win, to prevail. It would have done wonders for the Judgment Day if he won. So there's 2-part questions. One, what's the future for Edge? And for 2, what's the next step for the Judgment Day? Are they gonna dismantle, or are they gonna come back stronger? And will Damian Priest or Dominic Mysterio hold this over Finn Balor at any period of time? Because this is a pretty big loss that Finn Balor had last night. For 2, a part of the Judgment Day, Rhea Ripley did win her SmackDown Women's Championship match. Therefore, does that mean she is now going to take more of a leading position in what happens with the Judgment Day? Or does she jump over to SmackDown? Or does even the Judgment Day jump over to SmackDown, try to give that shot out? Which it doesn't really, this is all the questions that are now kind of stirring the pot a little bit, that we'll have to wait and see over the next few weeks. We are on the road to Backlash, which is May 6th. So, you know, how many WrestleMania rematches are we going to see? With Dominic Mysterio losing, where does the feud end with Rey Mysterio? I don't see it ending. But with Finn Balor losing, I don't know. I don't know where this story goes. You know, I don't think they can just ignore that Finn Balor lost to Edge and Edge found it up on top. So, you know, what's the future for Judgment Day and what's next for Edge? Because I really don't see nobody else on that roster. You know, Bianca Belair found a way to beat Asuka at WrestleMania and retain the Raw Women's Championship. So, I mean, I think an incredible match, but does Asuka still go out there and fight? You know, who's next for Bianca Belair? Is it Asuka still again, or are we going to see someone a bit different? An impressive victory with Omos beating, Omos losing to Brock Lesnar. I think it was a nice, impressive win that Brock Lesnar had over Omos. I think it was a win that, you know, could help him get back onto that kind of motivating, stage. But, you know, what does this do for Omos? What does this do for Omos, you guys? I mean, he went to go antagonize the Beast, unlocked the Beast, and lost to the Beast. So what did this do for Omos in his career? I mean, he has been getting better, but obviously something's gone on where they don't think that he's quite ready. And if he was, he would have beaten he would have ended up beating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, in my opinion. And I don't think that this feud is quite over. It doesn't look like it is, but I don't. Brock Lesnar's just out there throwing out there having fun. He's going to get into whatever matches he want to get into, and there's really nobody that has really been, besides maybe Bobby Lashley. There's no one that he's really needing to go on and beat or tackle on. I mean, he's already faced Bronson Reed, maybe, okay, but realistically, there's really nobody out there. I know the rumors been around it. I would like to see Brock Lesnar and Gunther at one time. I think that would be pretty impressive, but I really think that Omos has taken a big, nasty fall and hit after this loss, and I just don't quite see where Omos goes from here, or how he's even able to bounce back. Because if you don't win at WrestleMania, I mean, picking up a victory at WrestleMania at Backlash doesn't do you any good. All right, and then I think this is my ultimate question. John Cena loses to Austin Theory. Theory comes back and he goes on and proves to everyone that he is that X factor. Who could we see return? I would like to see, if this was me, and I don't know if the WWE has any guys in line for returning, but who could Austin Theory probably gets too cocky of himself, jumps into the line of, all right, let me set up an open challenge because I'm just that good. No one can beat me. John Cena can't beat me. No one can beat me. And goes on and sets an open challenge, and someone makes a return, beats him, knocks him out of that title reign. Think that works? No. But something like that comes across the line. Who could return? Well, can someone return? Does somebody return? So those are all interesting factors. We went over that list yesterday. Bold predictions. Jay White answers a open challenge from Austin Theory tonight. Now, what about this? Braun Breaker loses. Could we see Braun Breaker come up to Monday Night Raw? Interesting thought. So all that great stuff is to ask and to be questioned. All right. So 2 hours have come and gone on this program. We want to thank everyone for tuning in. If it's been from the YouTube channel, thank you. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. Press those notifications. Don't miss a single episode. The Facebook, Twitter account, hit that like button. Share it with a friend. Invite them over. And also all of you guys on audio platforms. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys like what you guys are listening to, be sure to tune us back in tomorrow, as which we will recap what happened over Monday Night Raw. Let you know who won between San Diego State and UConn, and all that fun, exciting stuff. So excited for post WrestleMania action to the throne. On behalf of the entire crew, Justin here. Thank you guys for listening to The Throw-In right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Take care. Have a great day.